Hey everyone, welcome back to the Nadlan Forum Podcast Daily. Ruby here, and I'm joined by Lior for another deep dive into the world where politics and real estate just crash awkwardly into each other. Today's a big one. We're talking about Lisa Cook, the first Black woman ever appointed to the Fed's Board of Governors, who, as you probably saw in the headlines, is now suing Donald Trump after he fired her. Lior, when I first started covering Cook's appointment back in 2022, it really felt symbolic, like wow, finally some progress in central banking. She's got this CV that reads like a policy nerd's dream. Obama's Council of Economic Advisors, economics professor, policy whiz. Her being appointed sent this massive message about, representation and changing the face of pretty old school institutions. And then this whole removal just undercut all those signals in a heartbeat.
Yeah, honestly, Ruby, it's wild. The appointment was one of those moments where you could say, okay, the Fed is starting to look a bit more like America, and it's not just another old boys club. What's shocking here is this. Trump dismissed her, and there's a lot of noise about whether he even had the legal authority to do that. There's this thing in federal law says governors can only be removed, I think, for cause. So if I'm not wrong, you need actual grounds, not just, well, I don't like your decisions or your vibe. I'm not an American lawyer, but I do know a bit about how these processes shouldn't work like this.
Yeah, no, you've hit it. Like presidential overreach is the main question. It makes me think of when we talked about the Home Act a couple episodes ago, Lior, about how much trust and transparency matters, right? Suddenly, people are side-eyeing whether the Fed chair or any governor is working for the public interest or just whoever's in the White House. And, no surprise, the legal mess dropped instantly after the firing. I actually can't remember a more clear-cut example of why independence matters so much with central banks.
So, the reason Trump gave for Cook's firing was these allegations tied to, get this, mortgage fraud. It's not even subtle. The claim is she listed two different homes as her primary residence to get better loan terms. That's a pretty serious thing. But
the details are so fuzzy, right? They say it's from FHFA Director Bill Polt, but nothing's proven. And Cook's legal team is saying, look, these allegations are unverified and didn't even come up when she was confirmed by the Senate. Like if you're going to fire a Senate-confirmed Fed governor, I heard a rumor isn't really going to cut it.
Exactly. And her attorney, Abby David Lowell, he's no rookie. This is a guy who handles these massive, complicated federal cases. They've already filed for a temporary restraining order to stop her dismissal from taking effect during the trial. So now it's up to District Judge Giacop to decide. But here's the thing. What constitutes cause? Is it an unproven mortgage controversy? Because, as we've discussed before, even whispers of fraud at this level tank trust in the system. And trust is basically the fuel that keeps central banks and mortgage markets running.
Honestly, it's wild how these internal kind of bureaucratic, almost thriller-like dramas end up, feeding into what we see in the real estate market, in mortgage qualifications, all of it. We talked in that hidden debts episode about how even little-known lending rules can throw off a whole mortgage market. Now think what happens when a headline like Fed Governor Fired Over Mortgage Fraud is splashed everywhere. Even if it's not proven, the reputation at that level sticks. Whether she actually did anything or not almost doesn't matter for public perception.
Yeah, and the timing is brutal too. We're not just talking about an average bank exec, it's the Fed. How many times have we said, if you want to have people trust rates or trust market direction, you can't have doubts about the integrity of the officials, right? Otherwise, we see it immediately. Real yields move, investor confidence sours. Mortgage rates go up or freeze. This is not just a legal drama. It's a domino effect throughout the whole economy.
Yeah, this is bigger than just Cook, right? I've been reading commentary from legal and economic experts, and they're basically waving big red flags. If the president can just oust a Fed governor whenever they want, the idea of an independent Fed starts to mean nothing. Financial stability, investor trust, like you said, it all takes a hit if people think monetary policy is just decided in the West Wing. Reminds me of other times politicians have tried to yank power away from independent agencies. It usually backfires, undermines trust, and gets messy. I keep thinking about what we covered in episode 2 about constitutional showdowns over the Fed. Lior, you've been in the industry through so many cycles. What does this level of political drama usually do to real estate markets?
I've seen it all, Ruby. And sometimes even a whiff of instability at the top. Even just weird headlines like this makes investors nervous. When people believe that central bank policies could twist with the political winds, we get higher volatility. Lenders widen mortgage spreads because they're worried, and buyers sit on their hands. Remember when mortgage rates dropped to 6.5% last month, and all it took was a couple of steady signals from the Fed for confidence to bounce back? Flip that around. If signals turn unpredictable, or if leadership looks shaky, confidence goes out the window. If you're sitting on the fence about a property deal, political drama like this can be the tipping point. I've had clients delay moving forward just because stability suddenly feels up in the air.
And it's not just lenders in New York or investors watching CNBC, right? This stuff trickles all the way down. If you're a regular home buyer, you hear Fed in chaos, and you're thinking, maybe now isn't the time to take out a 30-year mortgage. So it's not just about Cook and Trump duking it out in court. This sets a precedent and impacts everyone from boardrooms to first-time buyers. Anyway, I think that's all we have for today's episode. These lawsuits and power struggles aren't going away, so we'll definitely keep the updates coming. Lior, always a pleasure diving into this legal soup with you.
Right back at you, Ruby. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Don't forget to check out our recent episodes for more real estate news, and stick with us. There's definitely more drama to come. Until next time, bye everyone.